Okay, hello? Hello? Let's go over to our scene. Hi! Hi! Welcome in, everybody. Hi, Mimi. It's good to see you. How are you doing tonight? I hope you're doing well. Does this game have any graphics settings? I wonder. It does not seem to. That's okay. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing well tonight. So, happy Wednesday. I hope you've all had a good week. I hope you're excited for Thanksgiving tomorrow. I know for some people that can be a really stressful time, but hopefully you have some fun stuff planned, or maybe just a day to relax. Thankfully, I have work off tomorrow, so that should be very nice to unwind. So normally I would be streaming Wednesdays and Thursdays. I'm probably not going to stream tomorrow just because, you know, the holiday, and sounds like a good time to catch up on sleep if I'm being honest. Let me see. I forgot to post on Twitter, so let me do that. Okay. I have posted on the social media. And I'm very excited to get started with this game. I have played a bit of this game before, but like only a very small amount, and for some reason the game kept crashing on me. Yuki, thank you. Thank you for the hydrate. I love you. Let me give you a shout out. You should all go follow Minty Yukime. She's cute and gay, and I'm in love with her. She's one of my girlfriends. That makes it even more gay. Okay. I think I kind of just want to hop in. Hi, Mario. I love you. I love you. How are you doing? I hope my audio is okay, by the way. Okay. You are running through a forest. It is late at night, and the sky is as black as pitch. There is nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you are going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You are running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. You have no desire, as you run, save to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. Laser targeted to the prey animal girlies. Yeah, all the prey animals, besides me, of course, because I'm not a prey animal, must really enjoy this game. Good to see you, Cybernetic. I hope you're doing well tonight. You cannot let yourself be caught. Why not? If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going, on and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you have been running. Time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears, the sound slitting through the forest, and you stumble forward with a shocked gasp. You are free, but at what cost? Your skirt has been irrevocably damaged. It might not be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. Or it might be too late. If you do not start running again, and soon, she will catch you. Thank you. I got some tea. Okay, that is still too hot. I'll let it cool down. Then your life will be over. You do not know if she is still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her, silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you, you would lose what little nerve you possess. Yeah, maybe this game is meant for the prey girlies. Your legs would lock up and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumple. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Aww. Did she not promise when you made that contract that you would never be alone? You would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it is too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. You run and run and run while icy fog swirls about your feet. It is cold enough to sap the heat from your body, and you shudder from it. Hi, Kha'Zix. Welcome in. It feels as though you are drowning. It feels as though you are being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. You cannot endure much more of this. But if you value your own life, you must. Hi, Niji. Welcome in. You run and you run and you run until at long last you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though, not when you have put so much effort into running forward. You can only press on. The 3 paths are signposted, which is something of a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. Dark though it might be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old, dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted though it is. Your fate, if you will forgive me for sounding cliché, is in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? We could go to the shore, We could go to the village, or we could go to the castle. Let's save. Well, let's see. If we go to the shore, we could maybe find a boat and escape. But if there is no boat, then we've just completely cut off our escape route. The village might have other people there. Maybe they could help us. But based on the vibe that this game gives me, I feel like they're probably not going to help us. Or we could go to the castle, which... I wonder what would be there. I think let's start with going to the village. I'm curious to see where that takes us. I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday evening. Does anybody have any fun plans for tomorrow? Since I don't have work tomorrow, we can stay up a bit late tonight, so I'm not really in any rush. I just want to spend time with you. Still a bit too hot, but tea is really good. So, you want to go to the village? Good idea. Let us see what further trials await you there. This night is far from over, as much as you might wish it was, and there's still much and more to discover. I wonder what will happen next. The inquisitive narrator. You follow the path which leads to the village, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs which feel ready at a moment's notice to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a suitable residence in which to rest at the village. You do not know what will await you at the village, but you have visions, as you run, of a quaint, scenic settlement, all thatched cottages with sloping roofs. Surely, there will be a kindly peasant who will be willing to put up a young runaway for a few nights. You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly peasant from the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. Huh? Oh, Naya! Hi, Naya. Thank you for the follow. It's so good to see you. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Cutest bunny. Cutest Naya. You're a butterfox, I think? Is that correct, or is that just what everyone calls you? Here, I'll give you a shout out. Naya's really cool. I've met them in person before. Shout out. I'm so bad at typing. Naya. Oh. I accidentally shouted out Maya. Hold on, let me do that right. Naya. You have to wait 2 minutes? No! I'm sorry, Naya. I was gonna shout you out, but I mistyped it. Okay. She will be broad-shouldered and ruddy-faced, with dull brown hair crammed beneath a cap. Her arms will be sturdy from many years of washing clothes and milking cows, but she will be kind to you and compassionate, just like a mother. You do not know what mothers are like. You hardly ever spoke to yours. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Peasants do not, as you know from your voracious reading, have much money, nor do they have much food. It might be hard to convince a resident of the village, even the kindly washerwoman of your fantasies, to take in a complete stranger. Still, you must try. That is all you can do, really. So, you run to the village. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you manage it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all of its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. It is still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl, or orb, or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the village, nestled among the hills like a diorama. Hope anew bubbles within you. You have finally made it. Surely not but your salvation awaits you. You follow the winding dirt path to the village, looking this way and that. But your hope, such a precious, fragile thing, soon begins to fade. The village, up close, does not look half as welcoming as you imagined. There are cottages, yes, but they are in a state of disrepair. There are holes in the roofs and holes in the windows. Most of the doors are tightly shut, but others are gaping open. The kitchens beyond them even darker than the night sky which shrouds you. There are no lights on in any of the windows, and neither can you see any people, insomniacs like you, at them. You cannot hear anything, either, beyond the sound of your own footsteps and the low, mournful sighing of the wind. The village is quite quiet, eerily so. It is immediately obvious, even to a naive girl such as yourself, that something terrible must have befallen this village. You know before you try your luck at one of the houses that nobody will answer you. There will be no kindly, red-armed washerwoman to welcome you here, no matter how much you wish for it. But that does not stop you from wishing regardless. Your knuckles rap smartly against the wooden door. Your efforts soon prove, however, to be in vain. There is nobody here to hear your entreaties? Entreaties. Hold on, I want to look up this word. In earnest or humble request. I see. How very sad. You try another door, and then another, but the result is the same, regardless of how many doors you rap upon. Nobody answers you. How could they? There is nobody there. Once again, you have found yourself all alone. At least you have found some dwellings in which you can rest your weary head. Will you utilize one of these cottages for your purposes? Nobody is here, you might as well. But no, an abandoned cottage is not what you are looking for. You would far rather have companionship, would you not? Bravely, you swallow your tears. You wipe your eyes with the back of your arm in a well-practiced motion, then inhale. You square your shoulders, and you keep on going. Surely the village cannot be completely deserted. There must be one person here, at the very least, who can help you. That is what you are thinking as you resume your search. You flit from cottage to cottage with precious little to show for your determination, until you make yet another discovery. This village, with its squat thatched cottages bathed in the moon's glow, has a church. Well, of course it has a church. The villagers who once dwelt here were not godless heathens. Not that their faith did not all that much good in the end. Still, the sight of the church soothes your overtaxed heart. You were so focused on your fantasies of a kindly washerwoman taking you in. I love how the main character cannot stop fantasizing about the woman specifically. Like, she's here for any kind of companionship, but she specifically wants like a buff older woman to take care of her. A buff mommy. You were so focused on your fantasies of a kindly washerwoman taking you in, you did not pause to entertain the fancy of a kindly nun doing much the same. A woman of the cloth. I mean, who could resist age gap Yuri? Hi, Steph. It's good to see you. I love you. How are you doing? Huggies. Hug, hug. All hope is not lost. I'm doing better. Sorry I've been so quiet and out of it recently. It's okay. Life has been a lot lately. The important thing is I love you, and I'm happy to see you, and I'm happy you're doing better. That means a lot to me. I love when my friends are doing well. Healing up? I'm so glad. I'm sorry I have to clear my throat so often. I went to the doctor yesterday and I got a flu shot, and also they ordered me some nasal spray and they said that should help with the cough apparently. I don't fully understand it, but I trust my doctor. Aw, thank you, Steph. You're too sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I've had this cough for like a month now. It sucks. You approach the church, which seems to tower over you despite it being so humble. The church is a small one, but it is stout and sturdy. It must be, for it has withstood centuries, forever standing, sentinel on this hill, like a relic from a bygone era. This church does not have any stained glass windows, but it does need them. Oh, it does not need them. Even without more luxurious trappings, the church still exudes an aura of dignified solemnity. The stone building is fringed by a sizable graveyard, one which occupies the rest of the hilltop and some of its sloping sides. The graves, which have been planted by generations of wardens, are hewn from a similar stone to that which the church's walls are made of. Some of the gravestones are shaped like lozenges, while others are shaped like crosses. A handful of headstones are even shaped like angels, though these are few and far between. There are very few people, in a village such as this one, who can afford such luxurious final resting places. You look at the tombstones with an almost childlike curiosity, forgetting in your examination of the visceral, heart-rending fear which gripped you as you ran through the forest. You are out of the woods now, but you have, subconsciously, already begun to relax. Well, that's a big mistake. You try to read the names hewn into the myriad tombstones, but it is dark and you are tired, and some of these graves are very, very old indeed. You strain your eyes, but you do not have much luck in the endeavor. Oh well. Such superfluous details are not important. I wonder... There's got to be something special about the names on the graves, right? You eventually tire of examining the graves and turn. This graveyard is an expansive one, unusually so, given the village itself is so small. How can it boast so many corpses? And there's so much to explore. You walk about the perimeter of the church, casting your gaze first here, then there, then everywhere, consumed, as you are, by your immense, all-encompassing curiosity. Curiosity got the cat into a toxic Yuri situation. Better be careful. And as you do, you see her. She's so cute. I love her. She looks like an ordinary girl, small and scrawny, just like yourself, but she is much, much more than her unremarkable appearance might suggest. Aversion! Hi! I love you. She's adorable. You're adorable. I hope you're doing well tonight. For some moments, you observe her, hiding all the while in the shadow cast by the church, like a furtive lizard clinging against the rocky edifice to shroud itself from the sun. There is no sunlight here, though. There is only the night sky, and the stars, and the moon. Beneath the moon's light, a silvery implement that the girl is clutching shimmers. A little tired, but otherwise well. I hope you're well too. I'm doing very good, minus my cough. I feel like my cough is a bit rough today. But other than that, I'm good. I don't have work tomorrow, and that is a huge mood boost for me. Bless, I'm happy to be playing Yuri. Toxic Yuri, my beloved. It takes you a few moments to see what it is that the girl is clutching in her hands. It is not until you see her manipulate it, its sharp edge biting into the earth, that you understand. It is a shovel. This girl is standing in an isolated corner of the churchyard, late at night, and she is digging a grave. Well, you suppose she could always be digging a hole for the sake of it, but her work seems much too precise for this to be the result of mere whimsy. It is hard for you to see her face, given the distance between the pair of you, but her posture is one that speaks of supreme concentration. I like she has bones on her hoodie. Bones. I want to chew on the bones. She moves slowly, mechanically, like a woman on a mission, driving the ends of her shovel into the earth over and over. Her motions are regular enough to be repetitive. There is something hypnotic, almost, in the manner in which she attends this task. Should you risk interrupting her? Do you dare? You get the feeling that she would not appreciate it. The shovel in her hands, meanwhile, is rather hefty. If she wished it, she could cause you no small amount of damage with it. I love it. We see a girl with a weapon and immediately fantasize about what she could do to us with it. Cold anxiety makes your skin prickle. You do not know if you should risk speaking to her when she, in her dark cloak with her shovel, looks so very strange. But what do you have left to lose? You have come this far. It would be folly to turn back now. It is with this thought in your mind that you decide to approach the strange girl. Your footsteps are quiet. You have grown accustomed to slinking around like a cat, but they are not quiet enough. The girl's senses must be finely tuned because she blinks. Then she turns. Your eyes meet, and once they do, you feel your breath catch in your throat. You did not have a clear view of the girl before, concealed as you were in the shadows, but now she is looking at you. You can tell that she is pretty. Her skin is very smooth, and her hair, though obscured by the dark hood, is very fair. Her eyes, meanwhile, are a clear, cool blue, like ice. Those eyes of hers, which are large with unease, are fringed with very long, fair eyelashes. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. Goes to a graveyard to meet pretty girls. I only want to date the kind of girls who hang around graveyards. She is simply too perfect to belong in this world. Perhaps she is some kind of a vision, a waking dream, a hallucination? Mary Shelley behavior? But no, she is none of those things. The shovel she is clutching in her hands looks solid enough, its pointed tip glittering wickedly in the moonlight. You steel yourself, expecting, perhaps, some sort of outburst. Hi, Pally. Pally, thank you for the head pat. Welcome in. It's so good to see you. But the tension soon drains from the girl's slender shoulders. Wait, did Mary Shelley literally hang around graveyards? Her fingers, which once were gripping the handles of her shovel, tightly relax. She's so pretty. Oh! That's a very interesting place to do that. Wow, I really dig this girl. I appreciate that. That got a giggle out of me. Her lips curve upwards at the edges. She is smiling, and what a smile it is. It is transformative. When she smiles, she looks radiant, angelic almost. Hers is a smile that is so suffused with light that your eyes begin to prickle from it. You are so relieved, you almost feel as if you could cry. It would not be the first time you have wept during this night, and neither would it be too surprising if you did. You have been through a lot. You must be exhausted. The girl holding the shovel seems to realize this because she bridges the distance between you cautiously, as one might approach a skittish cat. Then, she says in a rough voice, which does not match her dainty appearance, "Well, she does live in a rural village. What were you expecting?" That's very interesting. I wonder if she had a very strong connection with her mom? Or death? Or both, maybe? I don't know if I've ever been to a graveyard. I don't think I have, actually. I've driven past graveyards, but I've never actually been to one. Oh, it's so good to see another person. I was afraid I was the only person left alive. The only one in the whole world. Now, this is quite the effusive greeting. Okay, hold on. Effusive? Expressing feelings of gratitude, pleasure, or approval in an unrestrained or heartfelt manner. I see. Gaz! Hi, Gaz! Okay. Bark, bark, woof, woof, bark, bark! Bark, 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 woof, woof! Ressie! Hi, Ressie! Ressie! It's good to see you. How are you doing? Her mother died shortly after she was born. I see. Oh, hydrate. Thank you. You're doing good? I'm really glad. I love you. Her introductory speech is riddled with exclamation marks. She is rather more personable than her apparel would make one suggest. You, a well-bred young lady. Cannot help but feel overwhelmed. No, I have nothing to share. I was just thinking. It is your turn now to be on your guard. Anxiously, you observe the girl with the shovel, and you ask her what she means. What happened? Oh, did you not know? There's an awful lot you do not know. So much, in fact, it would fill a whole encyclopedia. Girls are cute? Girls are cute. I love girls. No, a whole library. You shake your head, ashamed at your ignorance, and the girl frowns. You mustn't be from around these parts. I guess I should have known. This village is a small one, and everybody knows everybody else. The girl's expression falls. At least, they used to. Back then there were still people to know. That ain't the case now, though. Not after the plague. There was a plague? That would certainly explain why the village, when you walked through it, was so quiet. Did everybody else succumb to the mysterious illness? That's right. It's just me here now. I've not seen another human being in a long, long time. It gets so lonely here. Now, that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the girl takes a step towards you. Oh, but where are my manners? They must have gone rusty after being on my own for so long. My apologies, miss. You look like you've come a long way. You said you were a traveler, yes? And your hands are very cold, just like ice. Would you like to come inside? Maybe have something warm to eat and to drink? My home is small, I'm afraid, and my food ain't nothing fancy, but I'd be more than willing to share. It's not every day another girl stops by, especially not one as pretty as yourself. I'm feeling very blessed. The girl laughs, a carefree, airy sort of laugh, which does not match your initial impression of her. You thought, when you saw her among the graves, that she would be more distant, somehow, and more mysterious. Perhaps you are mixing her up with someone else. The cat moe is fantastic. It's really good. I really love her green hoodie thing. I would wear this. Like, the bones on it are just really cute. Little, like, puppy bones. And she has bones on her collar, too. It really is. You are still unsure if you can trust this girl, but her invitation is an appealing one. It is much more appealing, certainly, than spending the night outdoors in the cold, kipping on the graves. What is kipping? So many words I have to look up. But that's fun. I like learning new words. Oh, it just means to sleep. It's British, though. What are you, a romantic poet? Please. You make a show of pondering the girl's invitation. At the very least, you do not want to appear too eager, but your acquiescence is, alas, an inevitability. Why would you ever refuse her? She is the first friendly face you have seen all night. Without her, you would be all alone. And I don't want to be alone, because it gets lonely here. Your hostess leads you to a small, humble home located but a stone's throw away from the church, built in the shadows of a twisted, towering sycamore. That's a type of tree, right? I think. Oh, oops, I did not mean to click that. The girl's home is in such a state, it seems folly to even call it a home. I'm gonna save, just in case. Oval would, to you, be a more appropriate descriptor. But when your hostess leads you inside, her eyes alive, and she says, "Here we are, home sweet home." You don't have the heart to tell her that you don't find her home very homey or very sweet. That would be incredibly rude. As a guest, you ought to be more appreciative. Half-heartedly, you look around your newfound surroundings. The ceiling is supported by wooden joists and is perilously low. Not so much so that you are in danger of bumping your head, but just enough to feel claustrophobic. There is a fire in the corner, though it is not consigned to a grate. The fire, instead, is blazing in the open, a circle of logs set alight like a scene from a witch's kitchen. Above the fire hangs a silver pot, suspended from one of the wooden eaves. Other objects of interest are hung from the eaves: iron implements you take to be cooking utensils, various herbs, and strips of meat left to cure. The smell of cooking fills the air, mingled with the sharp, sour scent of unwashed bodies. Oh boy. How, you wonder, does your hostess clean herself? You do not see a bathtub anywhere. Perhaps she does not possess one. The girl's home is unremarkable in every regard, but it is, you suppose, better than nothing. At least there is a roof over your head and food to put in your belly. The girl looks to the pot, suspended over the fire, which she gives a stir with a ladle. Then she brings the ladle to her lips to taste whatever concoction she was brewing within it. A girl to huddle up with for warmth. Yeah. What more could you ask for? That sounds perfect to me. You can only hope that she is not, like the weird sisters from that famous play, brewing a broth with fenny snake fillets? What is a fenny snake fillet? Also, I don't know what play. I would assume a Shakespeare play. Macbeth? Oh, I see. It's a snake that lives in the fens, wetlands. Oh, okay. Interesting. Bunny is very cute. Aw, Holy is very sweet. It's good to see you, Holy. I am unfortunately very uncultured when it comes to like theater and stuff like that. But I have a lot of people in my life who are very into theater, and every time I tell them that I've never been to a play, they're like, what? How? I've also never been in a play. Well, I guess I was in a play, sort of. It was a Christmas play. But I didn't have a speaking role. I played a reindeer, and I had a little reindeer like fursuit on. Thank you, Holy, for the head pat. That was back in probably 5th grade. Scylla the deer. I think I would make a pretty good deer if I wasn't a bunny. Yes, I think this is just about done, the girl says to nobody in particular. You're already a deer. Oh, you're too sweet. She sets the ladle down, back into the pot, then looks to you and smiles. Did you want something? It looks as though you've come quite the long way, and you must be hungry. These words are like music to your ears, even more divine than the trumpets of God's most loyal angels. You are so hungry. You could eat a horse. Picture of a horse. How hungry. Not that there are any horses in the immediate vicinity. You express your interest to the hostess, who smiles in response. I thought you'd like the sound of that. Just give me a few moments. Your hostess retrieves 2 earthenware bowls from a cupboard with rickety hinges, into which she pours 2 hefty helpings of whatever it is she is cooking. This she serves with bread, which is so hefty it could be used as a murder weapon. The weapon was bread. It's not much, I'm afraid. It is only soup and bread. It should take the edge off your appetite, though. It's funny that that's considered like poverty food, because soup and bread sounds fantastic. Like literally one of the best meals is grilled cheese and tomato soup. Like that is perfect. You thank your hostess for her hospitality, your stomach rumbling all the while. The soup does not look like anything you would typically consume, but the soup's poor presentation does not dissuade you. Bare bones, but should satiate combo. Interesting. It is true enough that people eat first with their eyes, but when one is hungry enough, one becomes obliging enough to eat almost anything. Why else do you think that people, when stranded upon desert islands, will resort to cannibalism? Cannibalism? Yay! I have a feeling her using that shovel, maybe she was burying bodies, but maybe she was digging bodies up. Who knows? Humans are creatures of necessity. You like to wrap yourself up in pretensions. But in actuality, you are not much better than animals. I'm an animal! The soup is people! We're Coffin of Andy and Laylee all over again. You are so hungry. Your stomach is achingly empty that you certainly descend upon your food like an animal. Loser narrator. Your teeth glint, your incisors gleam, and soon you have consumed all that your hostess has offered you. Your hostess watches while you eat, and she giggles once you have finished. Did you enjoy that? Oh. You catch your hostess's gaze, suddenly abashed. You were so hungry you failed to account for her judgment. Now you have some food in your belly, though, and you have been suitably warmed. Your old self-consciousness is returning. Did you not make a fool out of yourself? You demur shyly, looking at your lap, fearful all the while of what your hostess might think of you. You do not want her to take against you. Fortunately for you, however, and for your fragile ego, your hostess is not the judgmental sort. She is not like the girls you grew up with. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's nice to see my food being appreciated so heartily. I know I'm not the best, but I've been practicing for a long while. I used to cook for my father all the time, you see. This remark catches your attention. Quizzically, you look at your hostess, your abashment over your animalistic eating habits suspended. What happened to her father? It seems a grim thing to contemplate after having eaten, but didn't your hostess mention something about a plague? Yes, your hostess says, her voice soft now and serious. That's right. There was a plague. And what of the villagers? What of her father? They're all gone now. Gone? Yes, you see. Your hostess rearranges herself upon her chair, one slender leg folded over the other. She's gay-sitting. Then she begins her tale in earnest. My family has a history. We've lived here for centuries, by the church, so we can tend to the graveyard. So this abode is centuries old then. It would certainly explain the dirt. My father used to prepare bodies for burial back when he was alive. He built the coffins and he dug the graves, and he lowered the coffins into the dirt. I know it might sound like an awful job, but somebody's got to do it, and there's no sense averting our eyes from death, not when it happens to the best of us. It's a noble profession, one that's been handed down in our family for generations. My father's father was a gravedigger, and so was my father's father's father, and my father's father's. This is like a tongue twister. Digging graves is in our blood. It's who we are. My. That was a surprisingly pretty speech coming from a girl who lives in the countryside, a girl who is without much in the way of education. It is apparent, just to listen to her and the way she slurs her syllables together, that she has never had any elocution? Elocution? Hold on. Elocution. The skill of clear and expressive speech. Oh. I want to get better at that. Actually, I slur my words all the time. Like, it takes a lot of focus to speak clearly, I think. Not like you. There is a determination, however, to her, and a pride in her genealogy, which gives her a respectable aura. You cannot help but be impressed. So, you ask your hostess, does that make her one in a long line of gravediggers? Yes, your hostess, the gravedigger says. That's about right, though I was never supposed to be a gravedigger myself. It's not a woman's profession, that's what everybody says. My father didn't mind that, though. He taught me everything he knew, and then some. I might be a woman. For real? But I've plenty of upper body strength. I can dig a grave just as well as my father could without breaking a sweat. To the despair of my mother up in heaven, I'm sure. I'm sure if she were still alive, she'd rather I focus on more feminine pursuits, like basket weaving or sewing, to better attract a suitor. I'll be your suitor. You've attracted me. I think a girl who can handle dead bodies is hot. Not that that would do much good now. There's nobody around who'd court me, not for miles and miles. I'm right here. And what happened to her mother? She died when I was very young, during childbirth. I was only 5 years old. Huh? Huh? How did she die from giving birth to you when you were 5? When I was very young, during childbirth. I was only 5 years old. Oh. A different child. Okay. For some reason, that did not come to my brain. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, well, you can relate to her, at least upon this point. Your parents are not dead, at least not as far as you're aware, but you have not seen them in an awfully long time. I'm just ditzy. I thought it was like the Doofenshmirtz joke of like, my own parents didn't even show up to my birth. They sent you away as soon as you were old enough, and they never once bothered to check up on you. For many years, there have been no letters, nor any visits. You offer the gravedigger your condolences. You do not know if they will help, but you feel like you cannot say nothing. That would seem heartless. At age 6, I was born without a face. The gravedigger, however, does not seem too upset by this turn of events, because she smiles, albeit somberly. That's all right. It was ages ago. I don't remember her too well, and I've never really had the luxury of sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I had too much work to do. Around the house, you ask? That too. I was the oldest child, so it was my job, after my mother died, to manage the sweeping and the cooking. Oh, and looking after my siblings too. You blink, intrigued, then glance about your hostess's humble lodgings. You do not see any siblings in the immediate vicinity. Where could they be? The gravedigger must have noticed your roving eyes. You are not being exactly subtle, because she shakes her head. I had siblings, 2 younger brothers. They're both gone now. Oh. You should have known. You apologize to the gravedigger for your lack of tact, but she does not seem upset by this faux pas. Faux pas, 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 pas. Is that how it's pronounced? If it's not, I'm gonna sound silly. Pa. Don't apologize. It's not your fault. My brothers weren't long for this world anyway. The youngest, he died when he was still a babe. And the oldest, he died before he reached double digits. Aww. I was upset about it at the time, of course, but I've come to terms with it. Life's a fleeting thing in this wicked old world. That's something you learn in this trade, digging graves, I mean. I've dug graves for the elderly and the infirm, but I've also dug graves for the young babes, still in their swaddling clothes. That's the nature of death. It comes for all of us in the end. No matter how old we are, no matter how much money we have, no matter how good or bad we've been. It's the great equalizer. Or so I've heard. A chill creeps down your spine as you listen to your hostess's speech. She's not wrong, but the inherent mortality of all humankind is not something you wish to contemplate. It is too disturbing. For the longest of times, my family was a small one. It was just my father and me, but that was fine. It was how I liked it. I was very happy, even if our lives weren't the best. I've never had any fancy clothes to wear, and we can't dine on the finest of foods. In the grand scheme of things, we ain't anything that special, but I've always felt otherwise. I thought that I was blessed. We knew hardship, of course, and famine, but that's just the way life is around here. When food supplies were low, we always helped one another out. I had my father, but I also had the rest of the village. We all looked after one another, and things always worked out in the end. At least, they did. Until the plague happened. Yes, she had mentioned a plague. You had been wondering when she was going to return to that topic. You suppose that the plague is the reason that the village, as you traversed it, was so empty. You'd suppose right. The plague tore through the village. I don't remember when. It feels like it was a while ago, but maybe it wasn't all that long after all. The life expectancy was around 30? Oh, wow. So it was like you could live an old life if you could get past the age of 3? Like, that makes sense, yeah. It feels like I've been on my own for centuries, but... Your hostess's eyes begin to cloud over. Oh, you're not alone anymore. She looks as though she is entrenched within her own memories. What could she be remembering? You have never seen a plague before, though you have heard of them in your history lessons. Your history professor was quite enthusiastic about the subject. She talked about piles of dead bodies stacked up on the streets and stacked up in wooden carts come to take them away, with no shortage of... A plomb? What's that? A plomb. Self-confidence or assurance, especially when in a demanding situation. Oh. She was a strange woman, your history professor. The plague came on very suddenly. There was no warning. One day everyone was fine, and then the next, they were all dead. It is with no small amount of anxiety that you eye the gravedigger. Then you ask, worriedly, surely they could not have all died. Is that not an exaggeration? Oh, if only. I wish I was exaggerating, but it's the truth. Honest to God. The people in the village died, one after the other, just like that. I saw what that plague does to people firsthand. My father was one of the first people who caught it. I think one of the bodies which came through that we buried must have had it. Not that I know for certain, I'm just guessing. Still, my father didn't have an easy time of it. His skin turned all gray and clammy, and he complained of a horrible fever. There were night sweats and stomach cramps. And then there were the boils. The boils? Pustules. They were the size of eggs. Ugh. And they were full of pus. When they burst, it stunk. The whole house was full of it. The stink of death. The wise woman of the village came to see if she could be of any use, but it was no good. My father was far gone already. Yeah. She took one look at him, lying on his deathbed, and shook her head. She said she didn't want to get any closer. I can't say I blame her. It was a ghastly sight. I didn't appreciate it at the time, though. It felt like she was turning her back on us. I wished her ill. I remember that after she left. Until a few days passed, and she fell sick too. Then I felt bad for cursing her. I couldn't help but worry if it was all my fault. It's silly, I know, but... The gravedigger closes her eyes. She seems to squeeze her lids together until her lashes melt like flecks of fallen snow. Her shoulders, which are very slender, are shaking. She looks as though she might, at any moment, fall apart. It wasn't long after that that the rest of the village fell ill. They all had the same symptoms as my father: the clammy skin, the fever, the boils. Interesting. The boils grew, then they burst, and then they died in screaming, stinking agony. My father died too, only 3 days after he fell ill, but I think even that 3 days was too many. I didn't want my father to die, of course. I did everything I could to help him, but it was all pointless. None of my herbal salves had any impact. I couldn't make a blind bit of difference. Alls I did was stand about his bedside, telling him it'd be all right, until his eyes sank into his skull like the 2 black stones, and his mouth dried out. Legitimate remedies for a lot of ailments, some functional, others not so, like boiling willow bark to treat headaches and aches and fever. Oh, that's so cool. During the last day, before he died, he might have been a corpse already. He didn't look at me, he didn't speak to me, he just lay in bed with his eyes closed, groaning. I'd never wished any ill on my father before, but during those moments, The gravedigger squeezes her hands, which are resting upon her black-clad lap, into fists. She trembles. Then, in a voice throbbing with awful emotion, she says, "I wish he'd just died." Not to get too mortal or dark, but when my grandpa was still alive, he was in pretty constant agony and didn't really understand what was going on ever, and just he seemed to be struggling with everything constantly. And I felt really bad for him. But when I learned that he died, I kind of felt relief, because he just was struggling with everything, and it felt like, I don't know, it was really hard to talk to him, so I have no idea what it was really like, because he was never really able to express anything. But I do think he probably found more peace in death than he did with how things are going. Well, based on her antidote, it does not sound like she had overly long to wait. I wonder if she would consider that a silver lining. Yeah. I wonder if she would consider that a silver lining. No, perhaps not. The gravedigger is still shaking. She will not cry, will she? You hope not. Awkwardly, you look at the gravedigger. You are not sure how to soothe her, but you know you must make some sort of effort, even if it is a token one. You shift upon your chair, which feels very cold and hard beneath your thighs. Then you say, very softly, that you are sorry. It is not much, but it is all you can think of saying. You had thought initially that your situation was comparable to that of the gravediggers, but now you can see that this is not the case. Her suffering has far outstripped your own. Not that suffering is a competition, of course. Your apology feels inadequate to your ears, largely because it is, but the gravedigger seems not to mind it. She is very big-hearted, that girl, to smile at you so, no matter how foolish you might be. Do you really deserve such kindness? Oh, again with the apologies. It's alright. Like I said, you didn't cause any of this. I'm not upset at you. I'm just recounting what happened is all. I do wonder, though, why I never fell sick myself. I thought I was going to die, so I had already prepared for the Reaper to come and take me away. But maybe he wasn't interested. Maybe he already satiated his appetite on all the others. That, or maybe he thought he'd have to leave me alive for practicality's sake. With my father gone, who else would tend to the dead? I was the only person left by the end of it all, so I had to bury the people in the village. They were all resting peacefully now, under the earth where the plague can't reach them. On the one hand, I'm happy for them. They were able to escape from all their suffering. When I think about all the people I've lost, though... The gravedigger tenses. Maybe she built up an immunity. I think she might be like a ghost or something. Or like, maybe she's already dead. And the reason I think that is her skin is very, very pale. And also the bones kind of give me that vibe. But I don't know. I feel like there's got to be something weird going on. Then she sniffs. When I think about that kindly washerwoman who helped me scrub the mud and the dirt from my clothes. No, she's already dead. Aha! So this village did have its fair share of washerwomen after all. It would seem your earlier insistence upon this particular point was not without merit. And the handsome young farmhands who used to flirt with me. The priest who preached at the church, who told us wonderful tales of paradise, and the children who would skip stones on the lake and play hopscotch in the streets. I can't help but feel so lonely. The gravedigger's eyes begin to shine once she has finished her address with tears, but she does not let them fall. She is being very brave, much more so than you are. Anxiously, you extend a hand towards her, meaning to. Yeah, she heard older women and was like, huh? Huh? What were you saying? What? Give her a hug? You do not know her well enough. Pat her head? That would be infantilizing. It would work on me. Squeeze her hand? Perhaps that could be misconstrued as a romantic overture, and that is the last thing you want. You endure more than your fair share of teasing over that. You sit there for a few moments, paralyzed by indecision, as the gravedigger poorly suppresses her sniffles. Is this game like Fear and Hunger? I don't actually know what Fear and Hunger is. Is that also a Yuri visual novel? In the end, you let her arm drop back to your side. Oh, you let your arm drop back to your side. Your hand rests upon your lap, as useful as damp kindling. You do not know what to do with it. You do know that you ought to say something, though, to show that you heard her plight and that you care. You do not know what this something should be, however. No words could ever console the gravedigger. They would never be enough. They can offer some balm, however, to the bereaved? What's bereaved? Yeah, it's Ebi-Hime. Bereaved. Deprived of close relation or friend through their death. Aww. Oh, I don't think this is an RPG at all. I think it's just straight up story. And so, after a pause, just long enough to be awkward, you offer your condolences. What else can you say? Oh no, the gravedigger replies, wiping a few stray tears away with the back of her arm. It's all right. I've grown used to it. Really. Being on my own. I mean, it ain't so bad, really. And I'm not alone now, at last. I've met you. You'll keep me company, won't you? Well, what can you say to that? You aren't callous enough to trample upon the poor girl's hopes, are you? You know full well yourself how awful that feels. You can do nothing but nod, a response which makes the girl smile, more widely still. That's wonderful. I know you're just a traveler who's passing through, but I can offer you bread and board until you leave. I have food enough and a spare bedroom. I can make it up for you right now. Asphyxia. Realistic depiction of depression. I want to play that. That sounds really good. That sounds up this bunny's alley. Yeah, Aversion knows my tastes very well at this point. You must be tired after your long journey. Just give me a moment. The gravedigger rises to her feet in a flurry of excitement, then retreats. Oh, cool. You watch as she departs, a little too eager to please, and frown. This girl's home is a small, humble one with a low ceiling and slanted walls. You cannot imagine such a small dwelling has a spare bedroom. This so-called spare bedroom is, in all likelihood, the room her father slept in before the plague carried him off. You do not think that you would much like to spend the night in the room of a dead man, but what choice do you have? Duh, sleep with her. In her bed. You are tired, wretchedly so. Why? Is it all you can do to keep your eyes open? While you were running through the forest, desperate to escape your pursuer, you had no thought in mind beyond finding some safe sanctuary in which you could recuperate. Now that you have found said sanctuary, it would be unreasonable to find faults with it. You ought to learn to be more thankful for what you have. Sleeping together is nice. Yeah, it is. It sounds really comfy right now. To just curl up in someone's arms. With soft blankies and plushies. There are many, many people in the world with less. You rise and follow the gravedigger once she's finished her preparations to her so-called spare bedroom, which is every bit as cramped as you feared it would be. At least there is a bed, which comes as something of a relief. The rest of these lodgings are so humble you were half expecting a straw pallet. As tired as you might be, you cannot lie to yourself. You have no desire to sleep among the hay like an animal. The sheets of the bed are clean, too. In fact, you discern with a cursory glance. So, you will not be expected to sleep upon the sweat-soaked linen of a plague-ridden man after all. This really is your lucky day. I got you this too, the gravedigger says, somewhat shyly, as she hands you a folded gown to sleep in. I thought it might come in handy. Your own clothes are, a little shabby. She can say that again. Your skirt is covered in mud and the hem is torn and ragged. This nightgown is one of my old ones, so it's suffered a bit of wear and tear, but I hope it'll fit alright. We're having a sleepover! This is so cute! It's clean, if nothing else. You accept the nightgown from your benefactress with the words of thanks. I've never heard that word, benefactress. This is getting so cute. It is, but I fear that things will take a turn. Or maybe I want it to take a turn. You want to sound appropriately appreciative, but you cannot mask your fatigue. Weariness overcomes you, and you yawn, a fact the gravedigger does not fail to notice. Oh, begging your pardon. I don't want to keep you. I'll be making myself scarce. If you need anything, though, don't hesitate to ask. I'd be happy to help. The gravedigger bows her head to you like a dredge. What's a dredge? There's so many words I've never heard before. A person made to do hard menial work. Okay, I see. Ah, okay. I knew what dredgery was, but I've never heard of a dredge before. But that makes sense. Making me want to read again? Yeah, I love reading, honestly. And that's what I've really enjoyed about this book club. Streaming thing is it's so fun to read visual novels with all of you. It makes me happy. You're all comfy. Then hurries off, closing the door behind her with a thud. Tired though you are, you soon find you rather miss your hostess's company. In the face of her good-natured smiles, you could almost forget all the hardships you have hitherto endured. In her absence, however, your lodgings feel almost unbearably cold and inhospitable. You suppress a shudder, then unclothe yourself. You work as quickly as you are able, but your fingers are cold and they fumble with the buttons of your blouse. It takes you more times than you would like to complete this endeavor, but as soon as you have your shirt and skirt dispensed with, you are too tired to fold them neatly, so you do not bother to fold them at all. Instead, you cast them carelessly upon the floor, as defiant as a sulky child, then pull on your new nightgown. What could that mean? Your hostess's earlier warnings were apt enough. It is quite worn, but it fits well enough. It is more comfortable, at least, than your old uniform. You have endured worse. Newly dressed and ready for bed, you loosen your hair from your braids and settle down among the sheets. It is with a sigh you extinguish the weakly flickering candlelight which burns on your bedside, and with another sigh that you lay your head down upon your pillow. Pally, thank you for the head pat. Though physically exhausted, you have to wonder whether you will be able to sleep at all. You can recall your previous dash through the forest in such vivid detail that your heart is still pounding. That fear has yet to leave you. Perhaps it will never leave you. Your terror was such, it almost feels as though it had suffused itself into your bones, into your very being. But your exhaustion is greater than your worldly anxieties, and soon it claims you. Your eyelids fall shut, and your breathing, inevitably, begins to even out. It is not long until you are spiraling through a dark, deep abyss, lost in Morpheus's kingdom? Morpheus? Isn't that a Matrix character? Morpheus of Dreams. Oh. I see. Okay. Greek. That makes sense. Everyone at work today was talking about Greek mythology and stuff, and like quizzing each other on what gods and are what. And it was just really funny because like I've never really learned much Greek mythology. All I really know is stuff I've learned from Fate and Smite and Hades. But your sleep, despite your wearied state, is not as restorative as you had hoped. Your imagination has always been overactive, even at the conservatory. What's a conservatory? Conservatory. A college for the study of classical music or other arts. Oh, that sounds cool. You are frequently beset by dreams of the most vivid nature. I don't usually have dreams, or well, I guess I'm told I probably do dream and I just never remember them. The dreams that you have this night, lying beneath unfamiliar sheets upon an unfamiliar bed, are no less intense than usual. In your dreams, you are back at the conservatory, the place where this adventure of yours began. You are wearing the crisp white blouse you once discarded, and your gray, unremarkable skirt. Your hair is tied in braids, and your eyes are downturned, forever focused upon your feet. You tried not to look at your classmates, and you thought yourself fortunate if they did not look at you in return. You did not want anybody to notice you. Until that awful winter, that is, where everybody stopped paying attention to you for good. Nobody tried to trip you when you walked past them in the hallways. Nobody, in fact, so much as glanced at you. All of a sudden, there were no malice whispers, no wicked laughter, no pulled hair, and no thrown objects. You were giddy with relief, at first, over this newfound means of tormenting you that your classmates had devised. Is our protagonist the dead one? That would be very interesting. But this little game, that of complete and utter disregard, continued and on and on and on, as the days grew shorter and the nights grew longer. As the time passed, you began to fret as to the state of your own corporeality. Could anybody still see you? It's like Bunny Girl Senpai. Did you even exist at all? Then, at long last, you found it, quite by accident, the source of all your woes. One of the girls had erected it in the forest through which you were sometimes bidden to jog for PE class, beneath the shade cast by an old oak tree. It was a makeshift tombstone, a small, meager monument made of stone, upon which one of your classmates had hewn a name. Your name. I think we might literally be dead. You knew at once, as you stood there, standing beneath the shade of that ancient tree, that this was the reason behind your classmates' silence. This was why, when they had, for many months, been ignoring you so assiduously. Hold on, I want to look that up. Assiduously. Showing great care or perseverance. They had buried you. In their hearts, you had already died. Your eerie dreams notwithstanding, you sleep more comfortably than you had anticipated. When you awake the following morning to the sweet chirping of birdsong, you feel well rested, albeit woozy. Your head is aching. It is nothing, however, that a cup of hot tea cannot fix. You stumble into the kitchen in your night clothes, your hair loose and your feet bare, and the gravedigger turns to you. She looks at your face, which is pasty, and your under eyes, which are dark, and exclaims in the manner of one accustomed to solving problems, not complaining about them. Oh, you look awful. I think you need something warm to drink, and maybe you need something to eat too? Let me get started on breakfast. And that is exactly what she does. She gets started on breakfast, which proves to be quite the simple affair, nothing like the luxurious food you were accustomed to in your past life. The bread is hard enough to break your teeth on, and the cheese is a bit too strong. It is food all the same though, and you do not complain. Your stomach was beginning to grumble. The tea is inoffensive, at least. And you drink it gratefully. You thank the gravedigger girl for her hospitality, and she smiles at you in return, a sunny smile like a field of blooming bellflowers. "It's no problem. Don't hesitate to ask me if you need anything else," she says, words which come to symbolize your relationship. You stay with the gravedigger for many, many more days, and limited though her means might be, she always tries to help you. The gravedigger sets you chores about the house to keep you occupied, a fact for which you are grateful. You need to do something to keep your mind off your frantic flight through the forest. You can almost forget about it now, during the day. During the night, however, it returns to you, the sound of your feet against the foliage and the swirling fog. When you sleep, you are assailed by nightmares. Sometimes you awake after midnight, the sheets twisted around your body and your mouth gaping open in a paroxysm? Gosh, there's so many big words I've never heard before. Paroxysm. A sudden attack or violent expression of a particular emotion or activity. I see. Though you try to tell yourself otherwise, you are still afraid. Yeah, I like that too. Like, obviously, the character uses a lot of big words, but that's because she knows a lot of big words. Being with the gravedigger makes you feel less so, though particularly when you are sweeping the floor or keeping an eye on the bread loaves so they do not burn. You attend to most of the domestic chores. Well, we've just become like wives. We're just like married and we live together now. You attend to most of the domestic chores, while the gravedigger concerns herself with the work she knows best, that is, digging graves. Her dogged persistence. It's very scary that the music just cut out completely. Her dogged persistence when it comes to the pursuit intrigues you, so much so that you cannot help but posit a question to her on one particular morning when the sky is festooned with clouds. Why, you ask her, perhaps a touch insensitively, do you continue to dig graves? There is nobody left, after all, to dig them for. You have always been practical, and you cannot see the point in it. What's the point in it, The gravedigger ponders, while holding her precious shovel to her chest. Fortunately, she does not seem upset by your question, despite its bluntness. You should count yourself lucky her temperament is so very placid. I don't suppose there's any point to it, really, the gravedigger eventually says with a small smile. I know it doesn't have any practical purpose, but... well, digging graves is what my father did. He showed me how to do it so I could continue his legacy. My father wanted to keep our family tradition going, and I suppose I want to do the same. That's all there is to it. Sorry, I keep yawning. That's all? Is it? Hmm. You think you can understand that? Though your companion's actions might appear to be illogical, there is a kernel of reason nestled amongst them. She does not dig graves out of any sense of purpose, she does it instead out of sentiment. Besides, I have to do something to keep myself busy, don't I? If I spent my days idling, all on my own, I think I'd go mad. The gravedigger laughs at this, as though the prospect of her own madness is amusing. Her laugh, despite her slender stature, is not particularly delicate. It reminds you, perhaps unkindly, of the braying of a horse. You are ashamed of thinking such a thing, though, and your face flushes with the guilt of it. Yeah, read to your wife. We cannot all be well-bred young. we we cannot all be well-bred young ladies, you know. I just think it's a bit funny. I know I'm childish. Still, the laughter of the gravedigger as it echoes through the gray, gloomy sky is strangely desperate. It sounds forced. Yeah, I'm very, very normal about that. Her smile, too, is a touch unnatural, the rictus grin of a corpse. You find, despite your attempts to return her laughter with a polite giggle, that you cannot. You cannot help but pity her. You retreat indoors briefly after your talk with the gravedigger, then set about some simple chores. The gravedigger trusts you well enough to manage sweeping the floor, a task which does not take particularly long, and the preparing of meals, a task which takes slightly longer. I saw a post that was like, Tumblr bunny girls are going extinct, then breed them. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. Um, I think that's a good opinion. My favorite are the posts that are like a trans girl will be complaining about how she can't get pregnant, and other people will be like, "That's quitter talk. You just got to keep trying." It is not until much later, however, once the sun has already sunk beneath the horizon and the moon is high in the sky, that the gravedigger returns from the outdoors. She is windswept after many hours spent exposed to the elements, and there is dirt caked beneath her fingernails. Okay, I'll allow this. The gravedigger removes her cloak, which she hangs by the door, then looks to the pot suspended over the fire, a fire which you stoked with your own fair hands. The scent of cooking food, that of garlic and onions, fills the air in suffuse. This word always gets me. Suffusing the interior of the kitchen in a homey aroma which makes your stomach rumble. Hold on, I need to screenshot this. It's really funny. It just my Twitch chat says VTuber Priscilla added permitted term, her gay ass. Taking stock of this, the gravedigger smiles at you, a toothy smile which, despite her status as a lowly peasant, is surprisingly clean and bright and white. Alliums. Alright. What's an allium? Oh, they're food. Okay, I see. I love onions. I really like purple onions, or I think they're called red onions or something. And I really like the green onions. I could just eat onions by themselves, and in fact I do that pretty often. I want a salad. That sounds really yummy. Oh, thank you so much, dear one. Dear one, that's so cute. One of my favorite nicknames that people sometimes call me is Little One. That one always makes my brain melt. There's nothing like returning home after a hard day's work to find dinner already prepared. Now, let me give it a test. You're making me all blushy. The gravedigger dips a spoon into the soup, then brings it to her lips. She blows upon it. Then she places the spoon into her mouth, the wooden utensil clacking against her teeth. You observe this without a touch of anxiety. Oh, with a touch of anxiety. Will she like the food with which you have prepared for her? You've cooked for her before, in the past, and she was always very complimentary of your efforts. Cooking is not your forte, however. You never had to concern yourself with it, really, growing up in relative comfort as you did. You think that you'd enjoy this rural, rustic mode of existence more than you did any of the privileges of your past life. At least now, with the gravedigger, you have a steadfast friend, a staunch ally, and they were roommates. When you are with her, you are not alone, and that is worth its weight in gold. The gravedigger exclaims, after drawing the spoon from her lips, her smile a bright, guileless one. It's delicious. Your face flushes at this compliment. You are unaccustomed to receiving them, and it makes you feel good. Shyly, you ask the gravedigger if she truly means that, a query which makes the gravedigger smile. Of course I mean it. You've become quite good at cooking, really. They were staunch allies. That is a relief. You were not very good at all this cooking malarkey in the beginning. You did not know how to handle a knife, nor how to peel a vegetable, and you cut yourself more than once. You bled into the soup on several occasions. Yay, extra flavor! But never once did you throw the sullied soup out. The gravedigger lives a humbled existence, and she cannot afford to waste her precious ingredients. Your soups, during your stay, have all been seasoned with the slightest hint of iron. Yay! I think real staunch allies drink each other's blood. I think that's very common, and I am very normal about this. Completely unrelated, but I really need a staunch ally. Your soups during your stay have all been seasoned with the slightest hint of iron. Today's soup, however, is a marked step above all the rest. You did not cut yourself with a knife even once. Maybe your companion's compliments are not empty fluff. Maybe you really are improving. This soup should be ready to serve. I have some bread too, that we can eat it with. But, oh, I should brew some tea too. Let me. Ah, yes, the tea. You knew you were forgetting something. You were so focused on the soup, it must have slipped your mind. Fluff. Fluff. Your face flushes yet again at this oversight, and shyly you offer to correct it. The gravedigger, however, waves your request aside. No, it's all right. You made the dinner, so I'll brew the tea. It's only fair, and it won't take all that long. Would you mind serving up the soup while I'm busy? Of course you would not mind. You do enjoy making yourself useful. Yeah, I want to be useful. For a lady, you are awfully domestic. Yeah, I want to be domesticated. You work alongside the gravedigger to finish your nightly meal, and together you serve it, soup and bread, alongside 2 cups of piping hot tea prepared by your hostess's own 2 hands. Done. You sit together at the table, then partake in this simple fare, after saying grace. The soup really is quite good, despite it being made from only the most commonplace of ingredients. There's a bit of kick to it, and it warms you from the inside out. The tea, meanwhile, is very soothing, so much so it makes you feel rather sleepy. You would like to sit with the gravedigger for a while longer and tell stories, as you have sometimes in the past. That, or play cards. We could play strip poker, and I don't know how to play poker. The nights are long, and there is no better way to pass them than spending time with her. Games of Old Maid, Alice, alas, will have to wait. You are too tired for it. You do not know what has happened, but after consuming your victuals... Hold on, let me look that up. How? You have it on your Xbox? You have Uno! I don't have Uno. I have the oldest Xbox known to man. What was I looking up? Victuals. Food or provisions. Oh, okay. Poker. Well, I guess you know her well enough by now. You feel utterly fatigued. You explain your predicament to the gravedigger between your yawns, and she nods in response. That's all right. You don't need to stay up with me. Not if you ain't up to it. You should head off to bed and rest that pretty head of yours. Aww. Yuri-sensei, hi, welcome in. I love this game. I've only played like 2 hours of it, but I really love it so far too. It's really fun. Oh really? It was your first VN? That's so cool. I think my first VN was Doki Doki Literature Club. And I didn't really play many after that, but I've really been getting into them lately. Like, I don't know, I just adore them so much. You do not think you are particularly pretty, but you presume that the gravedigger is just regurgitating a phrase to you. She does not truly mean it. How could she? She is far prettier than you are. You thank the gravedigger for her understanding, then rise from the table. You retreat to the spare bedroom on trembling legs, then change out of your clothes. You have only just slid into your nightgown when you hear the rapping of knuckles upon your door, light and unobtrusive. Does she want to share a bed, maybe? This is actually my first route. I haven't done any others. This rapping could, of course, belong to but one person. Cuddle time. The rapping of knuckles? Like about the Chaos Emerald? Okay, that's really funny. It is the gravedigger, come to check up on you. We at Pumpkin Hill. I'm excited for the third Sonic movie. I'm sorry, the gravedigger says, her voice soft, but you rushed to your room so soon after eating, I couldn't help but worry about you. Would you mind if I take a look at you? I just want to see if you're alright. She's so sweet. Oh my gosh. She's making my heart melt. The gravedigger is trying to keep her voice steady, but you can hear it wavering regardless. She really does sound concerned, so much so she could very well be on the brink of tears. Noella! Hi, bunny sis! Welcome home, it's so good to see you. I have been well. How have you been? How was work? I missed you. Give me a hug. I'm gonna shout out Noella. Noella. She is adorable. You worked 11 hours? Oh my gosh, you're such a hardworking little bun. I'm really proud of you. A smooch? Okay. Me and Noella always talk about how we're twins because we're so similar. Aww. You do not want her to cry for you. You would feel horribly guilty if you upset her, even inadvertently, given all that she has done for you. You bid the gravedigger entry into your room, therefore, without further delay, an invitation she hastens to take. Adorable bunny twin. You're the adorable bunny twin. Cute little fairy doll. Fairy doll bunny. The door swings inward with a creak, and there your hostess stands, still attired in black, her clothes a stark contrast to your pure white, well, off-white nightgown. The gravedigger looks at you, seated in bed with your hair freed from your usual braids, and exhales. Is that relief, you wonder, playing about her face? But why? What was she expecting to see exactly before entering your bedchamber? Thank you for letting me in, the gravedigger says, toying with her fingers. How do you feel? Huh? Oh. Not too terrible, you reassure her. There are no particular problems with your health, you just feel tired. Are you sure you're not sick? Your face does look a bit pale. That would be nothing out of the norm. You are always pale. True. Now, is there anything I can do for you? Would you like something warm to drink, or maybe a hot brick to place in your bed? Huh? You want me to snuggle with a hot brick? That sounds like a threat. Or like an insult. You know, if I wanted something warm to snuggle, I would just snuggle you. Brick? Why? You appreciate your hostess's thoughtfulness, but you reassure her that that won't be necessary. You will be fine. I hope so. I thought that about my father too, before he... The gravedigger begins, but her voice soon trails off. She does not finish that thought. She does not need to. You know, now, what she was thinking of before she entered your bedroom. Cold, clammy skin, a sweating brow, rank, oozing pustules. You think upon these symptoms, which are eerily similar to those recounted during the Great Plague, which once beset your own country, and you shudder. If you don't want anything, then I'll be on my way, the gravedigger says. But before that... Before that? Oh, is she gonna ask us? This was just a fancy on my part, but I was wondering, Aww. Would you mind if I brushed your hair for a little while? That's so sweet. Airbrushing is so wonderful, both having it done to you and doing it to someone else. Very intimate. Your hair? That's right, it's such a pretty shade of red is all. I just thought... well, it's just a fancy, really. You don't have to let me, not if you don't want to, but thought it might help you relax if you're feeling under the weather. I've heard it's supposed to be soothing. I got to brush Noella's hair once. That was really nice. This is what the gravedigger says, but you have the distinct feeling that she is the one looking for solace here. She is not quite so selfish, perhaps, as she would like you to think. Oh, selfless. But she has been so very good to you, and has done so very much for you, that you do not want to begrudge her this small self-indulgence. True. You rather think she deserves it. You agree, therefore, to her request, and upon doing so, you are certain that you have made the right choice. Your hostess's face lights up immediately, in a manner which makes you blush. Oh, thank you. It'd be my honor. Now, let me fetch my brush. This is so cute. This makes me happy. The gravedigger retreats from your room in a hurry, but returns soon thereafter, holding in her right hand the promised brush. This artifact acquired, the gravedigger then settles herself upon your bed by your side. She looks at your hair for a few moments, her expression pensive. Then, she announces that she will begin. The gravedigger leans in. The wooden frame of the bed creaks under her weight, a creak which melds with the sighing of the breezy outdoors. You can feel the bristles of the brush running through your hair. It is soothing enough, so much so, it makes you shiver. This is so precious. The sensation is a pleasant one, and somewhat nostalgic. Did your mother do this for you, you wonder, when you were a little girl? If she did, it must have been when you were a very little girl. You have not seen your mother in quite some time. Not after you enrolled at the conservatory. Oh, you have such lovely hair, dear one. It's soft, just like silk. Not at all like mine. Mine is so coarse. The gentle voice draws you out of your vague, half-formed reminiscences. It sounds as though the gravedigger is lost in nostalgia of her own because her voice, when next she speaks, is dreamy. I think my mother used to brush my hair like this, for me, back when she was still alive. That must have been a long time ago, though. It is funny, you think, as the bristles of the brush continue to slide through your tresses, that you and the gravedigger should both be reminiscing in tandem about your respective mothers. Perhaps there is something maternal in the act of brushing one's hair, which is wont to summoning forth such images. I would not know, personally. I cannot remember my own mother at all. I don't think I liked having my hair brushed very much, the gravedigger continues, her breath warm against the exposed nape of your neck. My mother used to complain that I squirmed too much. I can remember that. She always told me to sit still, though it wasn't my fault I squirmed. She used too much force. Yeah, you gotta be very gentle with it. Slow and gentle. Now this is curious. It sounds as though her reminiscences of the gravedigger are not particularly fond after all. So comfy. Yeah, you are. Did she not get along well with her mother? I can't rightly say, the gravedigger replies in a somber sort of voice. I was young, like I said, when she died. I really don't remember her too well. You're comfy. But I don't think she ever had that much time for me. She was too busy with all the cooking and cleaning. Oh, and looking after my baby brothers. But she had enough time, despite that, to brush your hair? She did what she felt she had to make me look presentable. Not that it really worked. You're gorgeous. What are you talking about? I wasn't like the other girls in the village, you see, who like to sit indoors with their mothers and sew. I'd always loved the outdoors. My father said I inherited that from him. Average trans girl self-confidence? Yeah. Ruefully, the gravedigger smiled, not that you can see it with your back facing her. My mother said I wasn't very, well, maidenly. She didn't like that I always trapezed around outside after my father, watching as he dug graves. She said it wasn't appropriate, like I was some sort of princess wearing a fine dress. The gravedigger snorts. I used to get a bit muddy, yes, and maybe I did get burns in my clothes and knots in my hair, but it shouldn't have mattered. It's not like I ever had any hopes of marrying a prince, no matter what my mother said. But still, she hoped. She had a lot of hopes, my mother. High hopes. I think she might have resented my father, maybe, for working such a menial job. Our profession is an honest one, but it's never made much money. I think my mother was hoping for fine jewels and dresses and... oh, I don't know. She always had ideas. Her head was full of fairy tales. It was a shame, I suppose, that her reality didn't match up to what she wanted. I didn't match up to what she wanted. Aww. The bitterness in your friend's voice is unmistakable, so much so. You want to console her. What would you say to her, though? You never met your companion's mother. You never will, either. Her cold, inert body has been lying in the graveyard, buried beneath a tombstone for over a decade. You have no way of ascertaining whether your companion's mother truly cared for her. You do have intelligence enough, however, to understand that poorly thought out condolences can cause more harm than good. You would not like it if people tried to reassure you that of course your father loved you really. If he loved you, then why did he send you far away from home? Why did he never send you any letters? You know he was worried about his finances, but that seems a poor excuse to pretend that his only daughter did not exist. As for your own mother, meanwhile, she was nice. At least you think she was. But she was woefully ineffectual. Though she was, nominally, I get choked up on words so much. An adult, she always cleaved before your father's judgment. You think that she was afraid of him. You do not try to tell the gravedigger, therefore, that her mother loved her, that she must have done, else she would not have given birth to her. Instead, you sit there, letting the brush run through your hair, and you say, quietly, that you understand. Sometimes you feel like a disappointment yourself. Yeah. Well, the gravedigger says after a pause, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I guess it happens to all of us. You guessed so. Parents are only people, after all. While one would hope one's parents would be kind and attentive, they too can fall victim to caprices of their own. Just because one has brought a child into this world, it does not mean one will be able to take care of it properly. Not all parents are responsible, just as not all people are responsible. It is a painful subject. Oh well. It is alright if my mother never liked me, or even if she never loved me. I know my father did, and that's all that matters. He was always there for me, no matter what. It's okay, I also have mommy issues. Your companion's voice catches in her throat. She winces. At least, until he wasn't. Oh. He died. And I didn't do a thing to help him. Your companion's shoulders are beginning to shake. You still cannot see her, but you can feel her body convulsing. You can sense her loneliness rolling off of her in waves. It is all-consuming, like the waters of a deep, dark ocean. Grief, anew, pierces your heart, not on your behalf, but for the sake of your benefactress. She does not deserve to suffer so much. This, you have no qualms with telling her. You turn to face her and pluck the brush, which has been hovering in the air, inert from her fingers. Then, you let her know that her father's death was not her fault. What could she have done? She could not have cured his illness. I know, but I can't help but think, what if? I keep racking my head over and over, trying to come up with something. But I can't think of anything, and even if I could, it's too late. He's already dead. He's dead and buried. I buried him, and now I'm all alone. She might have been alone, you tell the gravedigger, but she isn't now. Not anymore. How can she be when you are there? I know that. I know, and I'm grateful. But I don't know if I deserve it. Why would she not deserve your company? You do not understand. Normal tea for tea relationship. Yeah. Because I couldn't do nothing for nobody. My father always looked out for me when I was a little girl, but when he needed me the most, I failed him. I failed everyone. All of the villagers, all of my friends, all died. What would I do if the same thing happened to you? I don't think I could bear it. I don't want you getting sick too. Not when I care about you so much. I thought I'd gotten used to being on my own, but now that you're here, it's making me worry all over again. I've been worrying so much I can't sleep from it. I'm scared. Your companion's voice catches in her throat. Then she collapses in on herself. She leans forward, her arms wound about her middle, as if to steady herself, and she cries. She cries, and she cries, and she cries. For a few moments, you look at the gravedigger, unsure of what to do. Her pale face, streaked with silvery tears, seems to flicker in the candlelight. Her shoulders, which seem too slender to bear the accumulative weight of all the sorrows she has endured, are shaking. Your fatigue continues to cling to you, as insistent as the fog rolls amongst the tombstones in the graveyard at night. You are not so very tired, however, you cannot offer your hostess some comfort. Just cuddle already. Yeah, she clearly needs it. She's struggling so much. Seems like she's been struggling for a long time. You do not know what you can say to console her. You feel too weary to think of pretty sophisms. But there is something you can think of. You would not typically be so bold, of course, but you are tired enough for once to throw caution to the wind. That and the tears of the gravedigger are awfully arresting. You open your arms, and before the gravedigger can pass comment, you pull her to your chest. Oh. A soft exclamation escapes the lips of the gravedigger, quieter than the sound of wintry snow as it brushes the ground. Then there is nothing. The gravedigger is stiff in your arms for a few moments, like the corpses she and her father used to seal away inside their wooden coffins. She is all wide eyes and awkward, pointed elbows, tears still coursing down her pale cheeks. You worry, briefly, as you hold her, that you have perhaps made a mistake. Were your attempts at consoling her too clumsy? You would not know. You have never been in a situation like this before. You have never consoled any friends before because you have never had any friends to console. It is not so now, however. You are as far away from your old life as it is possible to be, and the gravedigger does not curse you for your impudence. Neither does she try to squirm away from you. Instead, she sits there, still as a statue, cradled in your arms. Oh, I'm very sorry to show you something so embarrassing. It's just, I get so lonely sometimes. Until, at long last, with a breathy sob, she lets the full weight of her body fall against yours. You run your hands against your sobbing companion's shoulders, shoulder blades, and her back, and gently, you soothe her. You tell her that she does not need to apologize. There is no shame in crying. You hug her for many, many minutes while she sobs against your chest, wetting the front of your nightgown. Oh, gosh, this is so sweet. It's making... No further words pass between you that night, but they do not need to. Words are irrelevant in a moment as tender as this, shared between two souls who have come to understand one another through mutual loneliness. You slide beneath your sheets, you still feel exhausted, and the gravedigger joins you without asking for permission. Oh, we're cuddling. Good. Sleepover. It would be an unnecessary piece of politeness, really, given your acceptance is all but assured. You have already accepted the gravedigger, after all, every single inch of her. You have accepted her hospitality. You have accepted her food. Now you are accepting her company. You arrange yourself beneath the sheets, then draw her body to yours. The gravedigger has not yet changed into her nightwear. Her clothes will be horribly rumpled when she awakes come the following morning, her head resting against your chest. But tomorrow has ceased to matter. It no longer exists. There is no concept of time between the two of you. No thought of the day which will dawn once this night inevitably ends. Instead, there is only the warmth shared between you and the wetness on the cheeks of the gravedigger. There is the sound, irregular now and less intense than before, of your companion's muted, muffled sobs. There is this gentle, tender moment snatched in the midst of a deep, dark night which can never be replaced. Your eyelids feel heavy, as though weighed down with stones. They droop inexorably downwards, pulling you, like a drowning maiden, into the dark, impenetrable abyss of slumber. You yawn. Then you fall asleep, coiled up beside the gravedigger like two cats in a basket. Oh. Ebi-Hime sure loves drowning girls. I also love drowning girls. I want my partner now. Oh, gosh. This is so good. You sleep and you sleep and you sleep more deeply than you have allowed yourself in quite some time. Do you hear that? Hold on. I want to make sure that's the game and not like an ASMR video I have in the background. Is this audio coming? Okay, it is the game. Okay. But when you awake, you find that you are no longer in bed, in the bed upon which you slept in, shrouded by sheets. The gravedigger, too, is nowhere to be seen. Instead, you are quite alone, lying by yourself in the dark. You blink, but your surroundings do not become any clearer. Is it the middle of the night? Perhaps you were roused from your slumber by the desire to relieve yourself, or else to slake your thirst. Your sleep has been awfully disordered as of late, and the smallest of noises has been enough to disturb you. That does not sound quite right, though. You slept well, of that you are certain. Your body feels invigorated, as though it has slumbered for hours and hours. How many hours? You do not know. You do not know much of anything. You can feel a strange pinching sensation around your chest, however, and around your arms. It would appear as though somebody, but who else could it have been save the gravedigger, changed your attire while you were sleeping? That is a startling thought, but the darkness which entombs you is even more so. The darkness which surrounds you is unsettlingly complete. It is so thick you cannot penetrate it. Your newfound woes do not stop, however, at this deep, unnatural darkness. It is cold too, and you are lying upon something hard, some sort of stone slab. Normal for your gravedigger girlfriend to put you in a coffin in the ground for a bit. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want that to happen to them, right? Maybe you were right when you said this game was made for the prey girlies. What is going on? You reach out, but your movements are soon stymied. There is something heavy lying atop you, something that is limiting your movements. You were anxious before, upon awaking, but at this discovery you feel downright aggrieved. A sharp prong of panic pierces you, but you try to suppress it. Hysterics will get you nowhere. In most cases, you only tend to make bad situations even worse. Oh, in most cases, they only tend to make bad situations even worse. You ought to know that already. You swallow your mounting dread as best you can, though it is coming on thick and fast, and try to squirm. You move your arms outward, but they do not get very far. There is a wall above you, and walls on either side of you, walls which do not budge no matter how hard you push. Not, I must add, that you can push particularly hard, your anxious state notwithstanding. You have never had much in the way of upper body strength, nor lower body strength. You do not have much in the way of strength at all. You feel quite helpless as you lie there, out of breath from your meager exertions, unsure of what you should do. You can hardly see a foot in front of your face. You do not know where you are, nor why, but a terrible premonition is beginning to bear down upon you, one which, initially, you tried to discard. You did not want to accept it as a possibility, but where else could the truth lie? You are lying in a box, hemmed in by walls which offer only a scant few inches for you to stretch in any direction. Where else could you be but a coffin? The moment you allow yourself to ponder this awful reality is the moment you hear it, the irregular sound of drumming. You woke up dead. It is though somebody, though they must be a very large somebody, is tapping their fingers upon the lid of your coffin. That, or it is raining. It is not the fingers of a giantess, though, which is just disturbing you, nor is it the falling rain. It is dirt. The sound continues on and on, as though it is drilling its way inside your skull. It is relentless. It is merciless. Like the thick of a great celestial clock, it cannot be stopped. Your time is almost running out. This is making me feel claustrophobic just imagining this. Which is funny, because, like, I want to be in a cage, but I don't know. Something about this is, stressful. I guess it's because I like the idea of being in an enclosed space as long as I can breathe, right? Like, I guess that's the thing, is like breathing specifically is my main concern. And in a cage you're able to breathe, but in a coffin, not very well. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of, I should look into, maybe I could buy myself a cage for Christmas. But you knew that already, didn't you, when you were running through the forest? You ought to have known, silly thing, that you could not outpace your destiny forever. Sooner or later, it would catch up with you. You are stubborn, though, and you do not want to accept this. Not content to simply lie there, you cry out. You cry out not for your parents, whom you hardly know, nor for your school friends, or you never had any. Instead, you cry out for your new companion, the girl with whom you have been living, and with whom you shared one precious, cherished moment. You cry out for the gravedigger. Surely, this is some manner of mistake. Once she realizes that you are, in fact, entombed in one of the coffins she is currently filling, for who else could be moving the dirt above you, she will cease her operations at once. I want a human-sized dog bed so badly. She will pull you out of the darkness, back into the world of the living, and then she will hold you close. Yeah, they're like a lot of money. She will embrace you. I want that. Oh. She cannot mean to cause you any harm, not when she was so good to you and so kind. Why would she bury you? You cry out for her so loudly you fear your vocal cords might tear, all while banging against the roof of your compact prison. You cry desperately, helplessly, and, to your relief, your cries do not fall upon deaf ears. The sound of the falling soil stops, albeit briefly. Then you hear a voice. The voice is very faint, given it's been filtered through your coffin's sturdy lid, but you recognize it. So, you're awake then, are you, dear one? The gravedigger says. She sighs. Then she says in a perplexed sort of voice, "Now that is a pickle. I was hoping you'd be asleep for a couple more hours, so the last time we spoke could have been on better terms. If you keep screaming like that, I'm gonna feel bad." Your companion's words, though distant, are unmistakable. You are so tense, you are attuned to every single syllable, and each of them makes you gasp. Was this not a mistake then? Does she truly mean to bury you alive? You posit this question to the gravedigger as best as you can, trying to keep your tremors from your voice as you do. Perhaps you think, in your optimism, that if you do not let her know how afraid you are, she will reward you for your bravery and let you go. If this is what you are hoping, though, it is in vain. That's right, you really do catch on quick. So it would appear she really has committed to the task of burying you. What an unfortunate turn of events. Why, though, would she do such a thing? You thought that she was your friend. We are friends, the gravedigger says, her voice still worryingly offhand. Worryingly empty. I'm very fond of you. There's nobody dearer to me than you. Aww. I mean, if a girl wanted to bury me alive, but she also, like, really loved me, I mean, you know, if it's for the sake of love. I've had a really good time with you these last... how long's it been again? I don't remember. Neither do you. Well, if this little detail slipped both of your minds, it can't be all that important. You have other things to worry about. If you really are friends, you say to the gravedigger, then what does she hope to gain by burying you? You do not understand. But you understand her reply even less. Well, here's the thing, the gravedigger says, in a reasonable sort of voice, as though burying somebody alive could even be thought of as a reasonable action. I've been digging graves for a long time, see? You cannot see. It is too dark. But you affirm that you do all the same. Well, I was digging all these graves, but I've not had anybody to put them in for... not for ages. It was rather sad. You think you know where this train of logic, twisted though it is, might be going, so you do not interrupt her. You know no good would come of it. All you can do, for the present, is lie there and listen. I was thinking I'd never find another person to bury in this godforsaken village, not after that plague messed everything up. I was getting desperate. Until you came along, that is. Now that I have somebody I can bury, I'm not going to let the opportunity pass me by. She can re-bury you as many times as she wants. That's a pretty good argument that might actually work on her. She's so sweet. Yeah, it's so romantic. I'm sorry, but this is just part of my job. It's what my father taught me to do. It's all I know how to do. I buried my mother and I buried my father. I buried all of my friends. Now I'm going to bury you too. It is sound logic in a sense. As the daughter of a gravedigger, digging graves is her job. But something about it rankles you. If only you could put your finger on it. Ah, yes. There is a bit of a flaw with her reasoning, is there not? You are not dead, after all. You might not be dead now, the gravedigger says, in response to your ingenuity, but you will be if given enough time. I mean, everybody else I've ever known's died. Who's to say you wouldn't be next? It seems rather more likely that you will die, and quickly, if she persists with her poorly thought out plan to bury you. I love that she's not like 100% sure that you're gonna die. She's just like, well, I mean, logically, if you look at the numbers, everyone else has died, so you probably will too, you know? Your coffin is not very large. It affords you precious little space. Little space? I love going into little space. If you're gonna bury me, at least bury me with like a plushie and a bottle and I don't know, cute things. A binky. Eventually, if trapped within it for long enough, you will run out of oxygen. Then you will suffocate. That, or you will starve to death. Either way, your demise will be a slow, painful one. You are unsure which death would be worse, though given how precarious your situation is, you do not wish to expend the necessary energy needed to ponder it. Scylla just wants nap time in a box? I do! You need to plead with the gravedigger, and quickly, while she is still here. You tell her, tearfully, that you would not leave her. Why would you? Starvation is probably more painful, but I think lack of oxygen would be way more stressful. And I don't know, I think if I was gonna die, I'd probably want more pain than more stress. Like, I'd probably want more physical agony than mental agony, I think. But it's hard to say. You tell her, tearfully, that you would not leave her. Why would you? You try to sound as convincing as your disordered nerves will allow, but the gravedigger remains unmoved. You say that, she says, but how can I know that you're telling the truth? I thought you said you were a traveler. They never stay put in one place for long. You'd get sick of me before long, then you'd leave me. This way, at last, or at least I can be assured that we'll always stay together. Aww! Together forever. If I bury you like I did the others, we'll never be far apart. I even took care to put you in a nice spot, close to my home, so you're only a stone's throw away, really. She should have buried herself with you. True. All snuggled up in a coffin, slowly running out of oxygen with each other. The coffin of you and the gravedigger. Speaking of, I can't wait for more Coffin of Andy and Laylee content. Isn't that nice? Privately, you think that the gravedigger has a different conception of the word nice to you. You do not say this, however. You're making this so romantic. I mean, we're here for the toxic Yuri. And we're gonna have the toxic Yuri. You cannot say much of anything because the panic has begun to set in. It is choking you, stopping up your throat so you can only cry. You scream. Toxic me. We're here for you, Yuri-sensei. You beg and you plead, but it does little good. Anoxic? Is it? The gravedigger has already buried her mother. She has already buried her little brothers. She has even buried her father, whom she loved above all else. She thinks, by burying you, she is doing unto you an act of great kindness. You know, I think she might have been alone for a little bit too long. Like, you know how it is, right? Like, too much alone time makes people go a little bit off the deep end. You think that she is going to kill you. You think so? In a sense, you are both right. Your opinions are so diametrically opposed on this matter However, that you'll never be able to find any common ground. I mean, there's ground in between both of you right now. Yeah, I like that moral of the story. I agree with that. You should always make your feelings known, because you never know when you're gonna wake up in a coffin being buried. It could happen anytime. You might as well save your screaming. She will not listen to you. Kiss the cute girl. She is beyond listening. Shush, shush, dear one. Says the gravedigger, very gently, just as gently as she spoke last night, when she confided in you all of her fears. It won't be so bad, really. Nothing will be able to hurt you down there. It'll be just like going to sleep for a really, really long time. You can rest, and while you rest, I'll tend to you. I'll plant flowers on your grave. You'd like that, wouldn't you? This way, we can always be together. And I'll never be lonely again. While the gravedigger speaks, she begins to pile even more soil onto the roof of your coffin. The sound of dirt on top of you, on your arms, your legs, and your head conceals your companion's final words. You cannot hear her. You cannot hear anything beyond the sounds of the dirt and the scrapings of the shovel, and your own desperate, frantic screams. You scream and you scream and you scream without cease until your throat feels hoarse, but your efforts are in vain. You hammer on the lid of the coffin with as much strength as you can muster, but the lid of the coffin is nailed shut. You are in no position to remove it. Here's the thing. If you're buried in a coffin, everybody always wants to punch up. But with all the weight of the dirt on top, obviously you can't really do much. Maybe try to break the sides. I don't know. I can't say I've never been buried in a coffin. But you know, if I ever find out, I'll let you guys know. Actually, didn't Mythbusters... I think Mythbusters did do an episode on how best to escape from a coffin. Maybe. I miss Mythbusters. All you can do is lie there, screaming and crying and banging your fists on the roof of the coffin over and over as more dirt and debris falls on top of you. Eventually, enough dirt falls on you to stifle your screams for good. The gravedigger can no longer hear you, and you can no longer hear her. You are all alone, trapped in a narrow wooden box, which, regardless of what you want, is now your new home. You can smell the soil in the backs of your nostrils when you inhale. It is so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You can taste the eventual, inevitable decay of your own body. You will remain trapped here, underground, forever and ever. Or, to use less melodramatic terms, until the last of your energy escapes you and you succumb to your own slow suffocation. It isn't a very pleasant way to go, but you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace? Or will you try to fight against it? Oh. Well... I don't know. Chat, what should we do? Should we let the girl bury us? Or should we try to struggle? I don't think we're gonna accomplish anything either way, honestly. And fight for it? Okay, we'll fight. Fight. Are you not happy with the hand that fate has dealt you? Very well. I cannot blame you. It is quite a grim ending. I would not wish it upon my worst enemy, and you are rather dearer to me than that. Aww. Narrator-chan. Now, why don't we give this another go? Just try not to be buried alive this time. I can only endure so much of your screaming. Your fate is once again in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Oh. Okay, hold on. I actually kind of want to load then and accept it. Because if it just takes us back to the choice then. What if we accept it? Very well then. Enjoy your eternal slumber. Wait, what? Mistia, thank you for the raid! Oh my gosh. Welcome in, raiders. Hi, it's so good to see you. How are you? How was stream? Yeah, raiding right into a girl being buried alive. Funny timing. Hi, Mistia. What were you playing? Hi, Venus. Bark, bark, woof, woof. Bark, bark, bark. You were playing some short horror games? That sounds like fun. You're too cute. No! I'm happy to have you here. We're playing a romantic Yuri game about girls burying other girls. Being buried alive is probably your biggest fear. Yeah, it's pretty scary. I suppose this is good night for now, but it is not goodbye. You cannot escape from me, even if you are buried deep beneath the earth. Where there is a will, there is a way. And even if the whole world has forsaken you, I never will. I will never leave you. You will never be lonely again. Okay. Oh, we get the credits. Do you know what this game reminds me of very, very strongly is ReZero. And I'm sure all of you know what ReZero is, but essentially it is about a guy who falls under the power of a witch, and every single time he dies, she resurrects him to like an older, like a point earlier in the timeline so that he can redo things. But it essentially means that he can never escape from this fate. He is constantly with her at all times. And I don't know, I think that's very interesting. Okay, well, I guess let's load the save then and fight against our fate. Your fate is once again in your hands. Okay, do we want to go to the shore or to the castle? I gotta say, going to where there are people sounds a bit spooky. Beach episode? Okay, yeah, let's have a beach episode. So, you want to go to the shore? Good idea. What will you discover there, I wonder? This night is far from over, and there are any number of adventures still awaiting you. I hope that you have prepared yourself in advance, and I do hope, For your sake, you have learned how to swim. I learned how to swim a few years ago. I have a sneaking suspicion that this skill might come in handy. Oh, okay. Don't worry. See, you can't swim in a coffin, but you can swim in water, so we'll be fine. You follow the path which leads to the shore, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs which feel ready to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. You are a little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb. You feel like a great lumbering thing. You need to lie down, and quickly. Your only hope, as you continue to run, is that you will find a means to escape your current predicament by the shore. You do not know what awaits you, but you have visions of a harbor extending out to the horizon, cradling a fleet of white-sailed fishing vessels. I'm guessing it's not going to be that. Surely there will be a kindly fisherman who will be willing to take you far, far away on his boat to a place where your pursuer will not be able to find you. Oh, you're imagining a fisherman now, not like a fisherwoman who's like strong and older than you and basically takes the role of mommy. You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly fisherman, a face you have lifted from the fairy tales you have read in abundance as a small child. He will have thick, bushy eyebrows and a dark brown beard streaked through with gray. He will look intimidating at a glance, but he will be fiercely protective of you, just like a father. So, okay, I see. Mommy and daddy issues. You do not know what fathers are supposed to be like. You are only imagining. It is your imagination, however, which grants you the strength needed to keep going. You run to the shore. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do it. Normal trans girl protagonist. Yeah, basically. Yeah, I think the thing about the family themes that's the most interesting to me is that they keep bringing it up, which tells me that it will have like a greater impact. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time has begun to lose all of its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares that lurk within it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. It is still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the vertiginous cliffs. Hold on, I want to look this word up. Vertiginous. Causing vertigo, especially by being extremely high or steep. I'm making a time loop joke. Yeah, it's funny to me how... Huh? Oh, Creason... wait, hold on. Crease Nekomata. Thank you for the follow. Okay, sorry. I'm bad with names and... I gotta fix my follow thingies. Cat Witch Raid, I'm late. It's okay. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Which plummet sharply downward to an array of sharp, spiky rocks below. You felt, upon escaping the woods, a degree of hope, but the sight of these weather-blasted cliffs gives you pause. You inhale. Then you frown. Now, what are you to do? You did not think this plan of yours through very well. Not that you had much in the way of a plan in the first place. There is little in the way of civilization here. The cliffs are far from the village. How far? You do not know, and you cannot see any houses. Where exactly will you rest your weary head, and what of your weary legs? Fitfully, you look around. There is nobody to your east, nor is there anybody to your west. There is no point in looking south. This is the way you came. And when you look to the north, the world falls away from you. The cliffs are too steep to scale, and it is too dark. Naturally, there is not a soul here to help you. You are on your own. You feel so overwhelmed, you could very well cry. You do not cry, however. You know that tears have never helped anyone. You got yourself into this mess. Now you need to get yourself out of it. It is with this thought in mind that you inhale a lungful of salty oceanic air. Then you begin your exploration in earnest. You keep away from the edge of the cliffs, afraid that you might slip and take a sudden, unfortunate tumble into the abyss below. Save here. You are not as attached to your mortal body as some humans are, but you do not want to die. You still care for yourself, if only a little. And it is this sense of self-preservation which compels you onwards. You glance this way and that, depressing the tall grass beneath your shoes as you search for a place of shelter. Surely there must be somewhere. You cannot see any likely looking settlements, but what is that over yonder? Yonder. I'm tired. Could that be a roof? You hurry onwards, hope budding anew in your heart, until at long last you reach your destination. There is a house, after all, out here in the wilds, though it doesn't, at a glance, look very welcoming. You're also very cute. No, you're cute. You're all cute. The solitary house that you have discovered, not so far from the cliffs, is rather unremarkable. It is so small and squat that you cannot imagine it contains within it more than one floor. You cannot even imagine that it contains much more than one room. Aw, Steph, you're too sweet. Though it is dark, it is not dark enough to mask that the cottage has something of a slant to it. It is leaning listlessly to one side, like a drunken sailor. The thatched roof, meanwhile, which tops this dwelling, has certainly seen better days. There is a hole in the thatch. There are several holes, in fact, and parts of it look particularly bare, almost bald. That is rather concerning. Should it rain, you will not be properly protected from the elements. Can you really stay the night at such a place? You have some misgivings, but do your misgivings matter, really, when there is nowhere else to go? It is not as though you have any other options. It is with a sense of defeat, therefore, that you approach the cottage, which sticks out of the earth like a tombstone. Part of you wants to turn back, but you know that that would be foolish. The windows of the cottage are dark, but that does not necessarily mean it is empty. It is rather late at night, after all. Whoever lives here, if indeed anybody does live here, might be asleep. You cannot imagine the owners of the cottage will appreciate being roused so very late at night. You cannot let yourself worry too much about these small details, however. Otherwise, you will never get anywhere. You swallow. The taste of salty sea breeze is pungent in the back of your nostrils. Then you rap the knuckles of your right fist on the door. You rap quietly at first, but you do not hear any resultant shuffling inside the cottage. Perhaps you did not use enough strength. Emboldened, you rap your knuckles on the door for a second time, more loudly this time. You wait a few moments, but still you cannot hear anything. Perhaps the cottage is unoccupied after all. You knock for a third time and then wait. The third time is, as they say, the charm, but for all that, your knocking goes unanswered. Well, nobody can say that you did not try. More intrigued now than anxious, your fingers find the handle of the door. You pull it down and, to your surprise, it yields easily. The door swings back for you as if by magic. It feels almost as if this was preordained. You step foot inside the cottage, which is very dark, and glance around. It is hard to see, given the lateness of the hour, but the cottage's interior is about as inspiring as the exterior. Yeah, that's true. Because who does this cottage belong to? That's a worrying question. Which is to say, not very. It is every bit as small and as cramped as you had fancied when you observed it from the outside. There are a few cupboards which line the walls, a wood fire which has since been extinguished, and a straw pallet on the floor which must function as a bed. I'm really loving listening to you. Aw, I'm glad. Sorry if I'm a bit low energy, I'm feeling pretty tired. I might be wrapping this up soon. But I at least want to meet the girl. Because there's gonna be a girl. There has to be a girl. Your search is unsuccessful, however, when it comes to trying to locate other humans. You cannot find another soul. Surely, that is to your benefit, though. If nobody else lives here, then you might as well make yourself at home. Or, as at home as you can be, I suppose, in a small, cramped cottage such as this with holes in the roof. You close the door behind you, then approach the straw pallet. All of a sudden, you feel incredibly weary. The tiredness that assails your limbs is absolute. So intense it overcomes the last of your concerns. Okay, so we're totally gonna fall asleep in this cottage and wake up to a girl on top of us, right? Like that's what's gonna happen, right? You settle down upon the straw pallet, yawning as you do. It is not comfortable, but being able to lie down eases some of your aches and pains. Lying down, even on an uncomfortable makeshift bed, such as this one, is better than standing. It is far, far better than running. Your eyelids fall shut, your lashes melting together, and, soothed by the sounds of the wind and the distant rolling of the waves, you fall asleep. Then you begin to dream. It is not uncommon, of course, to dream. The best and the worst of us do it, from queens in their castles to peasants sleeping in the straw. Why? Who is it to say that all of you have observed tonight has not, in a sense, been a dream of its own? That all you have observed, okay. Would that make your nighttime fancies, then? A dream inside a dream? Perhaps our dreams are empty, hollow things stacked inside one another like little wooden dolls. Matryoshka. Is that not a whimsical thought? How very droll. Your dreams, however, cannot be called whimsical, and neither are they particularly droll. They are not pure fabrications, as dreams sometimes are, fleeting fancies which can never come to pass. Your dreams are of a rather more pernicious sort. In your dreams, you are at the conservatory, with your red hair tied back into 2 prim, proper braids. You are walking through the courtyard, clutching your books to your chest as you make your way to the library. Your head is bowed so as not to look at the faces of your passing classmates. You do not want to meet their eyes. These girls, with their sensible braids and their sensible shoes, are merciless. You hunch your shoulders together in this dream of yours so as not to draw their attention, but alas, it is not enough. You stumble, clumsy thing that you are, and you fall, and just like that, all eyes are upon you. They are staring at you. They are laughing at you. You lay there on the ground by the fountain, your books scattered and your skirt in a woeful state of disarray. Your knee hurts. Is it bleeding? You examine your injured leg, trying not to cry, and as this transpires, you hear a voice. One of your classmates is calling out to you. She has acknowledged you. You look up shyly, tears beating in your eyes at a girl taller than you and prettier and much more refined. She extends her hand toward you. Does she mean to help you? It cannot hurt to try, can it? Hesitantly, you reach out to accept her offered aid. Her fingers curl around yours tightly, perhaps too tightly. Her nails dig into your skin. It hurts. Deftly, the girl pulls you to your feet. Your legs feel weak from your fall, and your knee is still aching, still bleeding. You stumble, feeling out of sorts, but you are not afforded much of an opportunity to gather your bearings. The girl's hands are on your shoulders. This dream brings back memories. I'm sorry if they're bad memories. She is laughing at you. Then she is pushing you. The sound of the fountain and the running water which drums against its basin is, all of a sudden, very loud. It is overwhelming. It surrounds you. Then it engulfs you. It is as cold as ice. You cannot breathe. The rushing of the water continues, echoing in your eardrums over and over, and then... No, you do not want to remember this. What good will it do? It is in the past, where the past ought to remain. So, in the first thing we did, the dream that we had involved us already being dead and buried, and then when we died, we got buried. And this one seems to focus on being bullied, but also a fountain and water and ice. It is as cold as ice and you cannot breathe. And we're next to a shore, so I think we're probably gonna drown in this one or freeze to death in the water. You are never going to go back, not even in your dreams. Opheliac? Putting cute girls in ice cold water. It is this determination which forces you back into the world of the waking with a start. You gasp like a fish as you sit upright, your eyes unnaturally wide. Ophelia from Hamlet. Oh, I see. You feel wearied from the lack of sleep. With half-lidded eyes, you glance about. No girl on top of us? It is still dark inside the cottage, the sky visible from beyond the windows, splashed still with stars. How long were you asleep? You are not sure. Your dream was so very detailed, it really did feel like you had been transported into a different time, into a different place. When you inhale, you can taste rank, fetid water in your mouth. Tentatively, you pat yourself down, your fingers trailing against the front of your uniform. So vividly was your dream, you half expect to find that your clothes are damp. This is not the case, however. You are, in fact, perfectly dry. Well, now what are you to do? Will you go back to sleep? That sounds like the best option available to you. You are very tired, but your senses feel too overwrought all of a sudden for sleep. You do not think you could bear it. On unsteady legs, you raise to your feet, then stand by the window. You look out to the starry sky and to the pitted moon which hangs amongst them, and you frown. Is it like a visual novel making game engine specifically? Okay, yeah. I love when I'm asking a question right as somebody answers it. You can hear the wind outdoors, howling like an injured animal, and, more softly, the ebb and flow of the waves as they meet the cliffs. But that is not all. What is that sound? Why, it's almost like singing. The voice is far away enough that you cannot pick out any individual words, nor even the individual syllables, but there is a haunting quality to it. You're gonna get drowned by a mermaid? Okay, I'm down for this. I wonder what's gonna happen in the game though. The singer, whoever they are, possesses quite the pretty voice, high and clear like a bell. The song is a melancholy one which stirs your heart. Dork. Maybe a bit of a dork, maybe. Curiosity takes root inside you, as it did during that fateful day you found that book in the library. Logically, you know you should not go outdoors to seek the source of that singing, but emotionally, imagine the toll. That is another matter altogether. You really should have learned your lesson by now. You should know better than to go sticking your nose into business which does not concern you. It sounds like Nier music almost. But naughty little girls such as you never do learn. You cross the old fisherman's cottage as though in a dream, then reach for the handle of the door. The handle depresses easily enough beneath your grasping fingers, and the door opens with a click. I'm glad I'm glad it's expressive. What? I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't reacting to anything. I think you're insane. I do adore my model a lot, though. I'd love to commission this artist again. But she is the most busy person on the planet. Unfortunately. Is this a typical Priscilla stream? Yeah, this is very typical actually. I pretty much only ever stream visual novels. And usually I stream on Wednesdays. Recently I just started streaming on Thursdays as well. Which actually, oh, I meant to bring this up earlier. Well, I did bring this up earlier, but it was before all of you got here. Normally I would stream tomorrow, but tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so I will probably not stream tomorrow. Probably gonna take the holiday off. If that's okay. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Unfortunately, fate will have to wait another week. I was deeply contemplating playing Fate for tonight's stream because I'm so incredibly invested in it. But then I looked at my list of visual novels to play and the Yuri was calling out to me. Ah, Yuri. It's completely forbidden. Yeah, I'm a bad girl. The rest of the world yawns before you, framed in the doorway, all of it bathed in moonlight. Meow. 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 You thought it was cold inside the old cottage, but it is colder still now that the door is open. An unpleasant wind rushes forth to meet you, knifing mercilessly through the fabric of your uniform. You look across the cold, inhospitable landscape, your fingers clenched into the fists at your side. Then you step out into the unknown. You canvass the cliff face, led by nothing more than the luxurious singing. So haunting and ethereal is this voice as it hangs on the breeze. It would be enough to send 1,000 ships off to war. You keep walking into the night until you reach the very edge of the cliffs, where they drop downwards into empty air. You ought not to go any further, but the voice has yet to cease. You can still hear it, echoing inside your head. It compels you to act. You look down at the shore, which seems like a dizzying distance away, then out to the ocean, which is breaking against the scattered rocks below. Your eyes narrow with determination. You are filled with determination. Then you take a step towards the cliff. This is an entirely new experience for me. Aw, well, I'm really glad to have you here. To give you a bit more information, I typically play very dark and messed up visual novels. And you know, I'll throw in some cute and fun things here and there too, but just if you're ever watching my streams, be prepared for things to get a little aggressive. I like dark themes, and I think visual novels especially are fantastic at expressing them. These cliffs are steep, and the rocks below them are sharp. You can see them glinting in the darkness, their tips jagged like the teeth of hungry predators. The cold wind blows, rocking your hair, and you shudder from it. Your shoes were not built for scaling cliffs, and your heels do not have much in the way of purchase, particularly not when the cliffs are so steep. Clinging to the cliffs is no small feat, yet you are determined to ease yourself down onto the shore, in one piece, preferably. The wind is so powerful, it feels as though there's something deliberately malicious about it. True, I do have a pretty bright color palette. You wonder, during your descent, if it means to knock you off your perch on purpose, to cast you down to the rocks below. Well, if that is what it wants, then you refuse to give it that satisfaction. You can be awfully stubborn at times, and now is one of them. You continue to climb. How long have you been at it now? Until at long last your feet meet the shoreline below. You have made it, and you do not sustain too many injuries. Your palms are throbbing, yes, after gripping those rocks, and you might have a few cuts, but your wounds are of a shallow and superficial sort. I don't know if you've ever been rock climbing, but it's really, really hard. Like, I don't know, maybe I have weak hands or something, but even just grabbing the rocks hurts my hands and I can't do it. You're a big light color palette girl as well. I love... It's funny, all of my clothes are on completely opposite sides of the spectrum. I either really like super like bright pastel cute clothes or like really dark like alt clothes. Well, yeah, it's rocks. Rocks are hard. I know, but they're like sharp and stuff too, and painful. And this was at like a rock climbing gym, so they were made out of plastic, but it still hurt. Things could have been worse. Bunny, you're so cute. No! Why are you raw dogging sharp rocks? Fantastic question, Nakupe. Wear protection. That's a good idea. You flex your fingers. They feel uncomfortably numb and cold alongside it. Your skin is prickling, but at least you can still feel discomfort. At least it is still attached to your bones, where it ought to be, your vital organs concealed within the hollow cavity of your body. You have a lot to be thankful for. This night has, by and large, been quite successful. There are no longer any obstacles between you and the mysterious voice which lulled you outdoors. Now you must find them. You set off down the shore, on the hunt of the singing voice which has captivated you so. I think you might be right. I think this is a mermaid, isn't it? Or a, Are mermaids the ones that lure sailors to their death with singing? And did you say this started with the character dying? Actually, it started with you running from somebody. And then you came into a fork in the road and we chose one of the options and we met a girl who everything seemed to be going well with until she buried us alive and then we died. And then we made the choice again and this time we went to the shore. Sirens, that's what I was thinking of. The rocks which cannot be circumnavigated, meanwhile, you clamber over. All the while, the sound of the sea mingles with that of the singing. It provides an ethereal, haunting backdrop to your exploration, one which further adds to the surreality of your moonlight stroll. The waves lap against the shore, then recede shyly, pushed and pulled by the bleached white moon which hangs overhead. The oceans that you have seen in your library book were all blue as sapphires, but this ocean is different. It is so late at night, it looks black instead. The undulating surface of the water reminds you of a mirror, though its depths are even deeper and much more mysterious. A sense of foreboding settles upon you, but you try to quash it. You will not let yourself be afraid. There she is. She's pretty. I like her design. I'd let her drown me. And that is probably what is going to happen. Okay. Well, we've been going for about 3.5 hours. This game has a time to... Huh? Oh, Zien's Gaming? I think it's Zien's. Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. I was gonna say, we've been going for about 3.5 hours. We got through one route and we kind of started this route. So basically 1.5 routes, sort of. So we could probably finish the game next time we stream it. I think that sounds good. I'd love to catch you in the future, hopefully. Yeah, I stream every Wednesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And usually Wednesday I use for like shorter games that might take like 1 to maybe like 2 or 3 streams to finish. And then Thursdays are my like really long-term games. Holy, thank you for the gift sub to Suzu. Suzu. They're cool. I just recently started interacting with them. Anyway, I think that this is a good stopping point. Thank you all for being here. Let's find somebody to raid. Oh, hey, speaking of Suzu, we could raid Suzu. Anyone else I would want to raid though? Wow, there's a lot of people streaming today. Honestly, let's raid Suzu. They're playing House Flipper, which I adore. That's such a good game. A smooch for Holy? Okay. Okay, let's set up a raid here. I want to say thank you for being here. And I guess in celebration of Thanksgiving, I'm really thankful not only that you all spend time with me, but that we get to experience wonderful media together. It's really, really nice, and you all make me very happy, and I love having you in my life. Thank you for spending book club nights with me. I feel very lucky to be able to get to do this. Anyway, I'm gonna send us over, but I love you. I hope if you celebrate Thanksgiving that you have a wonderful day tomorrow. And I will see you all next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if that sounds good to you, then mwah. And let me send you over. Okay. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night.